What's your name?
Satan.
Uh-oh.
What's the matter?
Nothing. Only it's sure a sorry name for an angel.
So, you used to watch VH1's I Love the 80s? Okay, Lonnie Love, behold! Because you can't get enough 1985, because you're still mistaking your wife for a hat, admit it! This is THR's I Ate the 80s.
In the 80s, two different kinds of robots were struggling for control. Not Autobots and Decepticons, or even Transformers and GoBots. Now, I'm talking about Japanese robots versus Star Wars droids. But what do you do if you want to meet in the middle? That's when you get Robo Force. Robo Force was made by Ideal, and all of its characters were pretty much the same thing. Basically, trash can-shaped robots like R2-D2, all of which had suction cup bodies that made them all sort of resemble Tom Servo, and spring-loaded arms that could hug, and also made them look like Tom Servo. You know, I'm starting to wonder. In some ways, the entire Robo Force merchandising push, including the toy line itself, was all a big ad for Max Steel, whom you could get as an action figure like the rest of them, but you could also buy a real robot. This is another thing that was starting to happen in the 80s. People were thinking, well, robotics is cheap enough, maybe we can start actually having personal robots. And they made the first few halting steps toward it with things like Max Steel and Hero 1 and that robot from Rocky IV. Perhaps you're wondering what kind of storyline and personalities the cast of Robo Force has. Well, imagine if Geronimo Stilton was a robot instead of a mouse. Wrecker and SOTA, or SOTA, two members of the Robo Force, are repairing a solar power collector near the farming district of the planet Zeton. Move it left 3 robo-inches, says SOTA. But I just moved it 3 robo-inches to the right, growls Wrecker. Make up your mind, jerk circuits. My favorite Holo TV program starts in an hour. Did you get that they were robots? Oh, don't worry, you will. Suddenly, the power collector begins to shake. What's happening? It's a Zeton quake! Look out! Are you okay? My circuits report no damage. However, that was definitely not a Zeton quake. My sonar tells me that it was caused by unknown forces. The ground shakes again. Looking up, Sota and Wrecker see a giant robot coming toward them. Look at that mental monstrosity! It's 20 times larger than we are! Hey, I'd recognize that creep anywhere. It's the evil robot Vulgar. How did he get so big? Maybe by eating a good breakfast of Robo Crunchies every morning. Robots! Robots! We got robots here! One thing I find especially entertaining is how all of them wear a giant Robo Force logo on their chests. How do they know who are the good guys and who are the bad guys? The giant-sized Vulgar smashes his way through the rest of the power collector. If we can get inside his body, we can shut down his control center. How about this hatch here? I've never seen one like it on a robot before. Now for one of the most interesting things about this. Believe it or not, this is a choose-your-own-adventure book. There's not much adventuring to choose. Mostly, if you make the right answer, you just skip a page and go to the part where they got it right. Sota's computer brain senses that one of the gears on the hatch is not the same as any other. If we pull off the odd gear, we can get the hatch open safely. Oh, I thought it was going to be one of those puzzles where you have to follow the gear and decide which way to turn the crank. Huh. If you picked gear A... I think we picked the wrong gear. We'll try again. The Robo Force never gives up. But if you picked gear B... Is this what I look like inside? Yes, but with much less rust. And now for something that every robot has inside his body, giant bugs. It's a Romite. Whatever made Vulgar so big made his Romites big too. Only robots who don't take weekly oil baths have Romites. Now this monster attack would be a good place to have another choose-your-own-adventure part, but no, they beat them for you. Sorry. It's not a boss battle, it's just a cinema sequence. Wrecker and Sota come to Vulgar's power center, which is inside the giant robot's head. Now all we have to do is find a way to turn him off without blowing everything up. That won't be so easy, says a nasty-sounding voice. The two robots turn around and see a video screen above the control center. On the screen is Hun Dredd, Nazgar's cruelest robot. Hun Dredd? Okay, so it's like Attila the Hun and Dread, but you put them together and you make the word 100. Because robots use numbers?
When I used my enlarging ray to make Volgar into a giant, I also fixed his control center so that if anybody tried to turn him off, they would blow themselves up.
That is a hard voice to do. Sorry, I'm going to change the voice.
We don't care. The Robot Force isn't afraid of an explosion or two.
But this explosion will destroy Zehan's farmlands. What do you think of that?
Sota quickly opens the control center. Inside are wires of many different colors.
Get out of there, you mechanical meathead!
Yells Hundred.
You'll just blow yourself up!
Maybe not.
Says SOTA as he begins to study the wires.
They don't call me state-of-the-art for nothing.
Yeah, a blocky robot with no fine manipulators is absolutely state-of-the-art.
We can stop Volgar if we cut all the red wires. Use your laser drill, but be careful not to use it more often than you need to. Cut each red wire once.
If you see 7 separate red wires, tell Wrecker to fire 7 times. Then turn to page 28.
Well, no matter what you do, Volgar starts shrinking, which means that they have to escape, or, on page 30,
If we don't get out in time, we'll be squeezed into robo-jelly.
or on page 32,
Now Volgar is shrinking. If we don't get out of here, we'll be mashed robo-potatoes.
Wrecker and Sota fly through the corridors of Volgar's robot body.
thank you for reiterating that the giant robot they're in has a robot body.
Volgar's normal size again, but before they can take him back to the Fortress of Steel,
Trademark.
a dread crawler,
Trademark.
swoops down from the sky. Hundred is at the controls. He snatches Volgar away.
I'll destroy you tin-plated toads another day!
He says as he flies away.
Won't you ever learn? Even a giant robot can't beat the Robo Force.
Yes, Ideal Toys. They went out of business in the 80s. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a book like this for my other favorite Ideal toy line from the 80s, Rocks and Bugs and Things. So, I'm gonna put this Robo book away for Robo now.